Hi, I'm Annika Johnson from Al Johnson's in Sister Bay. I hope you enjoy my new video series called Door County Girl. These are stories of my life, the people and places that I love, and of course how we all survive here in northern Wisconsin. You can come back as often as you like, but don't forget to subscribe to Al's YouTube channel. I'll be posting lots of really cool new videos. So let's go. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Door County Girl. Today I'm super excited because I get to work with one of my favorite co-workers at Al Johnson's, Roxy Wiltse, who used to be Roxy Carlson, but Roxanne Wiltse, and we all call her Roxy. And Roxy's been at Al's for she started working 50 years ago at Al's.
Yep.
So, and I'm so happy to have her working with me in the boutique. Whenever I'm not there, I know that things are always in great hands with these girls that work in there. But Roxy's been around forever. She's been through Gunilla, who's been with us forever, who was our previous boutique manager, my dad's right-hand gal, Anita Conlin, everybody, the old school gals. Yeah. So Roxy's going to tell a little bit about it, but you know, I was just going to say, we got here today and Roxy made a blitz tort, which is super Scandinavian. It's one of my favorites. It is like a yellow cake, got cream filling, it's got meringue and little almonds on top. And then you always drink coffee when you have Fika. And I'm so lucky because I love sweets and this is great.
Oh, my grandma Carlson always made it.
So this is your Grandma Carlson's recipe. And then I'm asking you, why did you bring lingonberries?
Well, like I said, she always served hers with some kind of fresh fruit, mostly raspberries. She would do, of course, with fresh whipped cream. But I thought everything goes better with lingonberries.
I agree.
So let's do it.
Yep. I mean, Roxy says she puts lingonberries in her whatever. What did you say?
I love, even with cookies and stuff, but with cottage cheese for like a salad.
Yep, I put it in my yogurt. I put it in my oatmeal. Why not put it on blitz tort?
Oh,
so
you bet.
Maybe you all people out there that are Scandinavian ought to try a little lingonberries on your blitz tort.
It'll be good. It'll be good.
All right, well, we're going to ask you a bunch of questions, and then you have to kind of give us your history. That's how this rolls.
All right.
So, when did you start at Al's? How old were you?
I was 19. I was engaged to my husband, Kurt. He lived here, and he was a native of Sister Bay. My grandparents owned the Viking restaurant, and that's where I had first come up summers and stayed with
And the Viking restaurant's in Ellison Bay. Yep. It's now the Blue Bear, for people that don't know. Okay.
So I kind of started, summers working there, but then when we were engaged, my grandparents got together with your folks a lot, Al and Ingrid, and they said, you need to, you ever get to, we always came to the restaurant though with Grandma, had to have our scorper and coffee, of course. Yeah. So when it came time to look for something for, working, you had just built, the building was just built by the restaurant and just opened, I think, in that 1970s.
In the early 70s.
Yeah, yep. And this building also was constructed, at the same time. So I was one of the first people working in the shop.
Isn't that crazy?
And back then we had clothing that we didn't have uniforms at the first time. So your mom would let us purchase whatever was there. We had skirts and tops
that had their names. Like blouses and skirts.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what we wore for our uniform until Gunilla made one of our first uniforms that we wore, and that's in a picture that I have by the Telemark boutique. But after my kids came along, I kind of took care of them, and now
wait. I'm going to stop you right there. Okay, so why did you want to work at Al's in the boutique and not in the restaurant where everybody else was?
I love the boutique. I used to come in. I love clogs, of course, and there used to be the little shop that was right, that's now in the back skirts here. But I got my first hot pants there.
Yeah, my mom wore lots of hot pants and bikinis.
Yep. But I loved all the, they had jewelry and everything else. And I just thought it was just, I had waitress and I just wanted to try something different.
Okay.
So,
Well, lucky us.
Yeah.
That you wanted to. It's hard to get people to work in the boutique, They all want to be in the restaurant.
Well, you want to make all those tips and stuff, but I love people, and you can, when you're in the gift shop, you are busy working, but you can visit with people. And I tell you, our customers, they get to be family to us.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. I've met so many wonderful people. They come back year after year, and it's, like I said, it's just like family.
Okay. And then before you start going in with your kids, you were also doing cherries.
Yes. We did.
Or do you need to talk about your kids first and then roll into the cherries?
Actually, my husband he bought his grandparents' orchard, and then we, in turn, when we were married, we started buying more orchard.
What was your orchard called?
Scandia Orchard.
Scandia Orchards?
Scandia
Okay.
Orchards. And we had orchard from Scandia Road, which we lived on, and then all the way through to was a ZZ, because 3 years in from our marriage, we lived on Scandia Road, but then we moved to his grandparents' farm when we just had too much production to keep up with. So.
And that was just right over here.
Right.
So
on
you've
the
been
back
living there
stretch.
for a long time.
We lived there for about 43, 44 years.
And for those of you that don't know, Sister Bay's kind of grown, but if by the Sister Bay Bowl, you're just driving out a little bit, and it's on the left side when you turn to go to Pheasant Park. She had a nice, big, beautiful white house there.
Right, farmhouse.
My mom used to always say, oh, you should see how beautiful Roxy's house is inside.
Amen.
It's gorgeous, just gorgeous.
Yeah,
she
was so kind.
She loved your house.
Now the big ballpark is back there and stuff, and so it's part of Sister Bay.
Well, Roxy couldn't work sometimes in the summer because you had to go do cherries.
Well, Al, that's where I came back, because I was gone for a while with the kids when I had kids, and Al was the only one who would give me, he says, if you come back to work for me, you can have cherry season off no matter when it is. And that's what worked, because I was in the office of our cherry plant. And thank God for that. So ever since,
we didn't want to lose you either.
No, it was great.
Whenever you get a good employee, you're like, you'll do anything for them to stay.
Yeah, well, he was the best.
We'll give you this off if you come back.
Yeah. He was great.
Okay, so now you can jump back to your kids. But I wanted people to know that you didn't just have Al's to work at, you still had to work cherries.
Yep, no, we still had cherries, and we were in it up until 2018, so we were in it for quite a few years.
And then what did you do with all the cherries now?
Actually, most of our orchards are Sequist, take care of them. We had a processing plant, Northern Door Cherry Processing, but my husband, we're totally retired from that now, so that's no longer.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, got to know that about her, because that's part of her world.
Yeah, it was a big part of my world. Everything you see, like at my bag over there, is cherries.
Yeah,
everything.
Cherries.
Yep.
Okay, so then your kids came around.
Yep. I have 2 boys. I have 7 grandchildren, and I have 3 great-grandchildren.
She's a great grandma.
Yeah. Just
I hope I look like you.
Oh, hey,
when I get to be that great grandma, I'm never going to be a great grandma.
They keep you young.
I'm a great aunt.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's awesome. Okay, so what is your favorite story of my dad and you?
Oh, there's
probably
a couple,
too many of them, but
pick
a couple of them.
He was so funny because, talk about getting a start. When I started my job here, my fiance, now husband of 50 years, he purchased a car, a Mustang. It was a 64 and a half, but he got that, put new tires on it and everything. It was from Marsty Anderson, believe it or not. So I would have wheels to come from, because I still lived in Nelson Bay, and so I had commuted, back and forth. And so Al would always say, I know when Rox is leaving, because it had, of course, it was a 3-speed, and had a hole in, I mean, it probably had a hole in the muffler, I don't know, but you know how.
It was loud.
It was loud. It was loud. And so he always teased me about that. Oh, I heard Rox is coming, but he always called me Rox. But he was just fantastic. He was scary at first because, you know, Al could be loud, and you were kind of intimidated sometimes. But oh my God, he was the biggest teddy bear you'd ever. You know, anybody that knows him knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
you know?
I know what you mean. It's so funny because I always say that when he's in the dining room and little kids are like fussing or whatever, he walks up to them and he's like, "Here's some chocolate for you." And the kid's like, but then he's got candy and he's like,
oh yeah.
"Oh, I kind of like this guy, but should I be scared of him because he's so loud?" And
Right,
but he's
right.
like super friendly like that.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, but he could blow.
Oh,
Did he ever
definitely.
blow on you?
No, only one time I got a telephone call. You know, it always is something to do with like either the cash register,
register,
or something,
yeah.
or something like that. And he says, "What's up with this?" or whatever. And I said, "Well, this or that." Oh, and all of a sudden the phone hung up. You know,
He never says
nothing-
goodbye,
nothing-
never
no,
says
no,
hello.
just
And you didn't even
there.
say, "This is Al."
Yeah, no. You just knew, you know. It's like, okay. But no, he was, you know, great. He would do anything, but I'll never forget the time when I had to walk into his office in the back. I was scared to death. There was years ago you didn't have babysitters, and so my first son, John, when he was little, I had my neighbor call me and say, "My son is in the road." Well, it freaked me out. I was going, and when I got home, I said, "This has got us."
Who was watching him that he was in the road? Now I'm curious. Your husband?
No.
Oh, you don't want to
was
say.
Yeah, and it was just time. It had been, and usually the shop was only open in the summers.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always off in the winter, which was great, you know. But I went into Al and I said, and it was, I think, probably in July or whatever. I said, "I don't know if just couldn't get, you know, sitter and stuff." And he says, your family is the most important," and that's how he was. Your family was most important. You have to do what you have to do. So, you know, I had to stay home at that time, and then that year was when we started to work more in the orchard and stuff like that.
Okay.
So, yeah, you know, life has a way of working us. What goes around comes around sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it came back around here.
Yeah, so you're out of, you know, now it's kind of funny because Roxy's retired from the cherry business, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's sort of our, "Hey, do you want to work more? Hey," Kara's always going, "Hey, do you want to pick up an
Yep.
extra day or do you want this and that?" You usually say yes, though. I mean, sometimes,
love
if
working.
I'm the warehouse runner, you're like the perfect warehouse runner. You can come
I
in,
can
you
do
still
that.
know where everything is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, if I can work out, you know, because I know what it's like not to be able to have somebody to fall back on if you need help, because you don't always have it, you know.
No. Well, you know, sometimes you have employees that are like 2 or 3 people, and you just have those employees. They just go above and beyond of what their job entails, because usually now with the younger generation, they're like, "Well, that's not my job."
Oh.
But you seem to just jump in all over, and you never ask questions, you just help, and which I really appreciate that. So, I mean, I didn't get to work with you in the boutique before because I always worked in the dining room.
Oh, definitely.
So when our friend Sarah Zander
Took over.
decided to leave and to get a different job, and I had to just kind of step in temporarily, that was not easy for me.
I bet not.
I mean, I had to jump in and like hang out with all the ladies that I never really worked with. I knew you all, but I've never worked with any of you before.
But
So-
now you see, and a lot of times, what I appreciate in our shop is that everybody you all kind of watch out for each other. You kind of almost like you finish each other's sentences,
Yeah.
because like if somebody's busy doing something and a customer comes, somebody else picks up the slack of whatever, and everybody pretty much does that, which is so nice.
Yeah.
You don't see that very many places.
Well, it's so funny because we were so busy when I got there. I mean, there's stuff coming in,
All the
and
time.
I'm not always have time to go in and display anything or put things out. And I mean, and you guys, I said, well, why don't you guys put the displays out? And you go, well, we can't touch anything. I'm like,
Oh, yeah,
you
I
can
remember
now, because I need help. I mean, I know that there was rules before where one person just did the displays and that was it. But I'm like, I need you guys to do it because you're out there, you work there, you know what looks good together.
Right, right.
I'm so knee deep folding T-shirts and sweatshirts and marking stuff that
You got your hands
it's
full.
nice that if you ladies know what goes with what out there, I always think it looks great.
Well, and everybody has their gifts. You know,
Yeah.
some do great displays with clothing. Some do great displays with, just merchandise. But yeah, everybody has a special little niche in that.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Okay, so what's one of your stories about my mom? Do you have any good ones about her?
Oh my goodness. Oh, well, and she basically was the manager of the shop for years.
Yeah, she was in there a lot.
Yeah. It was always so much fun because she, talk about putting together displays with, especially clothing. Anytime we got some new clothing and she wanted it displayed out, And we used to have a lot of scarves. And I'll never forget, she would come and I would have to display, she would use me as a model to put, these scarves, they were all entangled in one, and there's all kinds of ways you can, demonstrate.
Oh yes, I know. She does that to all the customers.
Yeah. So the
too.
customers would come and say, "Well, how do I do this?" She says, "Come here, Rox." I forget how I can't say
Roxy.
It. Yeah, yeah.
She
the
rolls
way she
her
said
R's,
it was wonderful. But she would always say, "No, this is how," and she was so good with customers. She could talk you into anything. I mean, and she did. I mean, customers just loved.
I have a feeling she wasn't pushy, but she just liked her stuff and thought it would look good on them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can tell that people just want, like if you walk in the store and say, oh, this would look great on you, and I'm like, no, it wouldn't. It would look like crap on me. And
Right.
I would never look at that. They just want to sell it because they're commission or whatever.
True.
But I think that my mom actually, or I like when someone comes in and I'll say, ooh, I don't like that color, but this one would look good on you.
Well, and they'll
I
kind
try
of
to be honest.
Well, exactly, and that's one thing I like about our shop too. We're not a shop. It's not commission. Everybody works together, and no, because I think that would be a lot harder. I mean, then it'd be cutthroat type of thing. But
Yeah.
everybody kind of helps, and the customer is. I always say the customer is always right, and I think your dad always said that. The customer is always right, and
Yeah.
you cater to them.
Yeah. We
make
want
sure
them to
you
come
say
back.
hello.
We don't want them to never
No,
come back.
no.
We got to make them happy.
You got it.
Okay, so what favorite memory do you have before my dad passed away, maybe, or what? I don't know really what to say there is what I mean about my parents, or do you have a special moments that you kind of?
Well, your dad, he was so cute. He was so funny. And I think quite a few of the girls probably felt the same way. We used to have a shop across the street, Al Johnson, or
On the bay,
on
yeah.
the bay. And we would haul stuff. We'd have a storage back here for something, and we'd have to haul back and forth, go across the street. Well, a lot of times your dad would sit in his truck and just watch or whatever. All of a sudden,
Oh, he's listening to the Cubs game.
oh, is that what he said? Okay. Well, he was so funny. Then because I would hear somebody, call out. But what he loved to do is we had flowers over there, and he'd water stuff. Well, I would go across with this cart, and all of a sudden I felt water come. I'm going, and I look around, and he'd keep straight. He'd pretend like he, didn't do it. Then all of a sudden I'd come back over. All of a sudden I got sprayed again.
Oh, yeah,
and then
he loved to dry up.
he just always, he would love to cheat. He was a great
loved
teaser.
the hose,
Yep.
all the time.
So I got,
If you ever were driving by the restaurant and you had your window down, he would douse
oh,
you.
yep.
He thought that was the best.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was the really fun. I never thought he would do it, but he did. He would. He'd just douse you.
Yeah, he was funny that way.
Yeah.
That was great.
Did you ever feel like you didn't want to work in the boutique? There was ever a time where you thought, God, I wish I would have not worked in here. I would have wished I worked in the restaurant, or?
Never. In fact, if you ask my husband, I was in the hospital for something that before my son got married. I had a stomach issue or whatever. Ended up in the hospital. Dr. Traver was there, and she was standing there, and I said, I was more concerned about working and getting back to work. And Kurt said, yeah, she can't work, wait to, she wanted to know how long she'd have to be off so I can get back to work.
Yeah.
Because she said I would need some time, time to relax and whatever. But I don't think people realize it's relaxing to me.
Well, and to me too, because so for me, people say, well, when you have a day off, why do you come into the restaurant? I go, I don't know anything else. You know what I mean? If I have a day off, it's nice to still come in. It's like your social outlet sometimes.
That's mine.
Yeah, even when I had Bo when he was a baby, and I was stuck at home with him when he was real little, I couldn't wait to go back to work. Because it was just me and him all the time. I was like, well, I just need some people, adults that speak and everything. And going to work was like a day off for me, from being a mom, I guess.
Well, and there's some days that, yes, it is hard work, but you gain and appreciate, you kind of appreciate yourself for, hey, I can do this, and I can, you accomplish something. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, I feel like that too. I know. You and I have like work ethics. I think. Okay, so I just need to say that Roxy bought an El Camino.
My husband's working on that.
Yep. She bought an El Camino. I have 2 El Caminos. She just bought an El Camino.
Yep.
And I saw the pictures, and I am a little jealous of it.
Got to come out and see it.
I know. Her husband works on cars, and so he's actually refurbishing this cool El Camino that they picked up in Florida, right?
It's a project in the
And then before we go, tell them what kind of car you drive.
I just got, from my birthday, which was in July, my husband bought me a 1965 Mustang. Shocked the heck out of me. I was thrilled to death. So, like I said, what goes around comes around.
I know. I always bug her because I'm like, why didn't you drive your car to work today? I was.
Well, and I should have driven it.
You should drive it to work every day.
I know. Well, she's a baby sitting in the garage right now.
She's a baby.
Yeah, she's a baby.
Yeah. She doesn't get used like I use mine up. Gets sideswiped in the parking lot.
Oh, gotcha. That was a shame.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It can be fixed.
Anything can be fixed, right?
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
All right. Well, we could talk all day because I just have to say that I appreciate the fact that Roxy's worked here for 50 years, and we're celebrating our 75th anniversary, and Roxy's been here for most of that time.
Yep.
And it's not really. My family ran the business, but it's the employees that ran the business with us and helped us. So I have to say that I appreciate your 50 years of service.
Well,
I didn't know you when you were younger, of course, but I mean, working with you now, I would never, ever, ever want it any other way. So you cannot retire before I retire.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm going to leave it on that note. So, but thanks for 50 years.
Well, thank you.
Sniff, sniff. I'm a little teary-eyed.
It's a family affair.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we got to cut into
yes, we have to cut into the cake. Well, everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe at the bottom of the page for another episode of Door County Girl. And you'll meet really cool people like Roxy.
Yeah, come see us.
Yeah, come see Roxy in the boutique. She loves to chat with people and know where you're from and everything. And she's a good baker. If you got to eat a blitz tort, she might have to put a recipe online. Grandma Carlson's.
Yeah, Grandma Carlson's.
Yeah.
You bet.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Yum. I can't wait.
Okay, guys.
Thanks for watching Door County Girl. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you next time.